Welcome to the Basket Buds edition of the Athletic NBA Show podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host, Zach Harper. We got Mo Dakhil, we got Jay King, we got Trevon Edwards, we got Dave DeFore producing, and we have no more season. It's done. Everybody go home. Well, not everybody, just 10 teams, and then get rid of another 4 teams in the next couple of days, and then we'll just have
Zach, Jay's already on vacation. He's at the beach. He's already on vacation.
It's an audio medium, Mo. So the Zoom. Oh,
well, you can watch us on YouTube, though, Zach.
You could. Still not a great joke. We have a lot to talk about. The Clippers want the Suns. Do they? They got them either way. We'll get into the play-in action that's happening Tuesday and Wednesday, mostly just Tuesday. And then we'll talk some Mavericks tanking. But first, guys, Timberwolves just never stop giving us content. Just never stop. So, all right, there's a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert got into it on the bench during game 82. They win that game. They get to be the 8 slot, which means they go take on the Lakers for the 7 seed in the play-in tournament. They lose that game. Then they have a tougher road. They'd fall down to 9. They've had to beat the Thunder and then go beat the loser of Pelicans Lakers. So they end up winning this game, but I genuinely think they won this game because the Timberwolves sent Rudy Gobert home at halftime. They sent him home like a kid who acted up at school. I don't know if his family had to come get him. I don't know what happened.
My man got an external suspension from the second half of the season.
Home because he and Kyle Anderson were reportedly, I don't know, arguing about rebounds or block shots or whatever. And so at one point, Rudy just goes and punches him in the chest. Just punches him in the chest. And then Taurean Prince, who was right there, shoved the shit out of Rudy Gobert. That wasn't look, I'm going to make assumptions here. That was not I'm breaking up this fight push. That was, I'm sick of your shit push. He shoved Rudy. They go into the locker room. Shams Charania and John Krasinski reported that in the locker room, we had another altercation between them. No punches were thrown, but they essentially Kyle Anderson was like, I'll beat your ass. Or I'll knock your ass out. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And so there's a video that I don't know how real this video is, but there's a video where you don't see anything, but you hear Kyle Anderson talking, yelling about I tried to tell you about this, whatever, just mad at Rudy Gobert as he's walking to the locker room at halftime. After Rudy gives an apology tweet, right? But in it, can't help himself. Yeah, he just had to say, he just had to do the thing. Look, we have to be fair here. We killed Draymond during whatever that in memoriam apology video he had after he punched Jordan Poole.
The 15-minute documentary?
Yeah, the 15-minute little mini docuseries that he did. We killed him for saying, oh, you don't know what was said, but what, blah, blah, blah. No, Draymond, you punched out a teammate. You're wrong. With Rudy in his tweet, apologizing to Kyle and the fans and the organization, his teammates and everything, he says, regardless of what was said, buddy, just take the blame. Just take that. You don't have to give yourself an out there. No one's going to give it to you. We get what Jay called the softest leak ever he's fighting through a bad back. He's fighting through a bad back. And then
I had a bad back today, Kyle. I can't believe you didn't see me playing through my bad back.
I feel like I'm rambling. I'm not even done with the fucking story yet. There's so much to this. And then Draymond tweets out, insecurity is always loud, which is what Rudy tweeted out when Draymond punched out Jordan Poole months ago. There's so much to unpack here. Trey,
it's a full circle.
Trey, the fuck is going on? And by the way, they play tomorrow. They've got to go beat the Lakers tomorrow to try to get into the playoffs. It would be the first time since 2003, 2004 that the Wolves made back-to-back postseasons. If they can win the play-in tournament, either 7th or 8th seed. It hasn't happened since Shrek 2 was in theaters. So Trey, the Wolves, Rudy, Kyle, the fuck?
Jaden McDaniels, don't forget him.
Oh, Jaden McDaniels broke his hand.
That was the other thing.
I was just going to imply that Jaden McDaniels did the Amari Stoudemire. Basketball players, if you're listening, please don't take your anger out on walls. The walls always win.
Mm-hmm. Stop
Any
punching
object
shit.
always wins. No matter
Jaden McDaniels punched the wall,
frustrational
broke his hand, out for the season.
His shooting hand. His shooting hand, too. Don't punch with your shooting hand if you're going to do it.
Oh, my God.
So in this particular situation, right, I actually messaged Kyle because I was curious of what's going on. You know what I mean? And, you know, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Tensions flare. It's like us being on a podcast all 82 games. And sometimes we're not going to agree with stuff. Now, obviously, this is a very public forum thing because it's a timeout. There's some frustration. It was actually getting to it with your teammate day because Bones Highland and Mason Plumlee both had the same altercation and things just got testy. But like Mo and Jay and you said, pretty much, this is not the time, Timberwolves. You just lost Naz Reid, right?
Yeah.
Naz Reid. Then, now, Rudy probably is not going to be allowed back until he shows some type of improvement, right? And he only has a day to do that. So I'm sure he apologized to the team. He probably practiced. They're still trying to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah, they all said the right things of like, we're going to move on. We're men, like all this stuff, right? They said the right things. Yeah.
Exactly, because they have one common goal at the end of the day. They still want to make it to the playoffs. They still want to do what they need to do.
I was going to say get Rudy back to France was the common goal. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, they also want to make the playoffs.
It'd be interesting if he got deported, though. All of a sudden, they find something on him and then he's deported.
That's wild. But at the end of the day, they still got to go out and win this basketball game. They were doing so well. Anthony Edwards is really fucking good, by the way.
He's so
good. I hate that all this stuff that happened overshadowed his great performance yesterday. And
Cat,
I think
Cat had a great fourth quarter, a great second half. Like he struggled, came back, hit 3 straight threes at one point. Like it was a good win.
30 points on 19 shots. Like that's a hell of a game for Cat. Like that's awesome. Like
absolutely. I don't want to technically count them out, but the more men, the more chances of winning at this particular point. So they might have shot themselves in the foot. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they're moving like a very young team. And you think bringing in vets like Mike Conley, Kyle Anderson, et cetera, you know.
And Rudy himself.
This is the thing. I don't think that he's of age, but not mature enough. Right.
Right. But they traded it like he was.
I mean, of course, of course, in this situation, they he got coddled so much in the Jazz organization to a point of like, now it's kind of like, now you guys get to see what we were dealing with, and thank you for the haul that we got back, but that's your problem now. And in Kyle's frustration, I'm sure he's just kind of like, look, you guys need to hold him accountable. I'm sure throughout the season, there have been things, even when we were early on in the year, I think it was Naz Reid who spoke out and said, we all know who the problem was. And everyone probably assumed that it was D'Angelo Russell, and it could have been Rudy Gobert. I don't know. I don't want to assume, but
it wasn't D'Lo. I can tell you that.
Of course, because D'Lo went on to play with the Lakers and he's having a good time. And I think those guys still like D'Lo, but in this particular situation going forward, they now have to have a win or die basketball game tomorrow. You know what I mean? And in this case, it's not really working in their favor. But KG said, a good scuffle builds team chemistry. So I'm not sure, Zach. You're the Wolf guy, or our former Wolf guy,
our beef court
beef court judge. Yeah, that's it's not good. I tell you, it's not. The situation is not good. I think it's fixable. I do think it's fixable, but it's currently not good.
There's so much to break down here. And first,
we could do a whole 3-hour show on this. Yeah, like we have other things to get to. I don't know. We'll get to them. Like,
so first is what Kyle Anderson said, which was reportedly "shut the fuck up, bitch."
Yeah.
Which is like, it's he shouldn't say it, but it's also just something you say when you're upset in the moment, and I don't think you should really take that personally, especially given all the quotes from people, including from Rudy, literally the day before this happened, saying saying that Kyle Anderson is just a direct leader who is going to be super blunt, super honest, can be abrasive, whatever. So you just have to accept that.
Shout out to Conley, Chris Hine of the Star Tribune for unleashing that after he's working on
amazing timing.
An article on the leadership of Kyle Anderson. Had that quote from Rudy. Is like, well, might as well put this
the day before. Just incredible.
That's amazing.
But anyway, so that's that part. And Mike Conley after the game kind of said as much. Like, you just have to know that Kyle's going to be direct with you, and that's how the way he's going to treat you, and you just have to accept it and move on. And then the Taurean Prince reaction was the most damning part of it all to me, because
I'm with you. Yeah.
The reaction when you see two teammates getting into it is almost always to just break it up, to get in between it and hold somebody back and make sure nothing escalates. Taurean Prince, he acted like he was just waiting for a chance to go at Rudy Gobert all season. Like he had been waiting for the one moment that Rudy lost his shit so that he could then go at Rudy Gobert.
He's just been on guard this whole time.
And so,
it's just like, say something.
So they just everything that happened in the moment. Obviously, we're going to read way too much into one moment that's just in the heat of things. But it did seem like everyone was against Rudy Gobert in that moment, even though Kyle Anderson said something pretty rude.
But it didn't feel like it was one moment. It felt like this was the culmination.
That one was building up.
Of things building up with that. And then it was just kind of funny where the whole thing starts with Kyle Anderson like, hey, block some shots. Hey, Rudy Gobert responds with get some rebounds and all that. Like, this is just the craziness of it. But the McDaniels side of it is really the most brutal thing, because they need him for this playing game.
He's all defense for me, man.
Right. They need him in this game against the Lakers. And if they lose, they're going to need him on Thursday night, whoever they play. Like, this is a massive blow for their chances. You know, they'll figure
they're playing New Orleans. I love the Thunder, but they're going to play New Orleans.
Okay, fine. New Orleans, whoever, whatever. I wanted to give the Thunder some chances, but okay. But anyways, like, desperately going to need him in these games, you know? And I think that's the thing that's so brutal with it. It's just like, not only did this just hurt team chemistry and all that stuff, you lost a player out of this who wasn't involved in the scuffle in the first place.
Yeah. It's a tough blow. We'll see what happens.
New Orleans, Brandon Ingram.
Yo, he's good. He's good. He and Ant
he's
going
rolling
back and
right
forth.
now.
They were going back and forth, man. Those two are so
it turned into an awesome game.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god, it was one of my favorite games of the season. Like, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
The one part of the McDaniels injury that I'm looking forward to is that now Anthony Edwards is going to have to guard the best players on the other team.
Yeah,
right.
And I think he's actually much better in that role, because off ball he can just kind of fall asleep and just get checked out. But when he's locked in and he's guarding somebody, he can be incredible.
Yeah,
just incredible. And so I think the challenge of guarding the best player every night over this next stretch, maybe it's just one game, like, it'll be really, really fun to watch him guard LeBron. It'll be really, really fun to watch him guard whoever.
He was talking to Ingram during that game, during that fourth quarter. Like, he was just like, and it wasn't like, it didn't look like shit talk. It looked like a guy just made it to first base in baseball, and like, he just have a conversation with the first baseman. Right. Like, it was just like it was this just a funny thing. They kept cutting back to him, and he's just smiling, talking, everything. It might have been the shit he was saying to Bo Cruz in that horrible movie Hustle. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was great, man. Like, he's great.
Zach, you mean to tell me you enjoyed that game more than the Peyton Pritchard first triple double, or Udonis Haslem's 24 points?
It's not.
It was a weird.
It was a weird triple double too.
It was a weird last
Cam
day
Thomas,
of the season.
46, man. I mean, Cam Thomas, man, free my man Cam Thomas. He is a scorer.
Jacques Vaughn's quote about Cam Thomas was so perfect after the game. It was incredible. They asked him about Cam Thomas, and he's like, well, did you see the score? We lost 134 to 105. Like at some point, you're gonna have to marry like the whole scoring points thing with like helping your teammates thing.
Well, that's not his fault. He had 46 of 105, man. Where's everyone else stepping up?
But I mean, Kenny Lofton, Zach, I'm surprised you
42.
didn't even mention your
that,
guy.
That's going to be all of POC on Thursday. It's just Kenneth Lofton. Like, oh my God.
Stay tuned for that.
Trey, I will admit, you're right. Udonis Haslam's 24 was way better. He caught an alley-oop. He caught an alley-oop. He's got to be out.
He's
got to be out for the rest of his career.
Yeah, 13 in the first quarter.
He's encased in ice right now.
This is the thing. You get your last shot, right? They call him in. You don't know what to expect from Haslam.
Yeah.
I didn't. So I'm like, okay, UD, I'm gonna check you out. He balling. Like I'm
He's
like,
balling.
all right.
Dwayne Wade was losing his shit on the sideline.
I'm like 14
in
in the first quarter. He might actually crack the rotation now. but then I'm looking and I'm like, yo, he caught an alley-oop. Like, huh?
Yeah.
It was up there. But you also got to think about this, right? We're doing inflation. Haslam's 24 is Kobe 60.
I'm with you.
Oh, 100%.
It might be his 81. It's at 65 years old, he's catching oops, he's hitting corner threes. Like it's one of the greatest performances in NBA history.
Had he scored 24 points all season, I would bet he
scored
had
a total, like total.
I would
points?
bet there's no chance he had
No.
24 points
Good
this season.
question.
Bro, he ain't scored
I'm
24.
checking that right now.
Listen,
Yeah.
he probably
He didn't play
hasn't scored 20
minutes.
I was gonna say he hasn't probably scored 24 in like 7 years. I'm gonna be honest.
He played against the Celtics legitimate minutes against the Celtics earlier this year, and it was just a great
He has
moment
27 points on the season, so I'm gonna guess.
So he had 3 before that. He had 3 points before having 24 on the final day.
Yo,
How many minutes did he have going into this game? Because I don't think he had enough
And
to get 24.
he's 71 on the season, so I don't know how many he played, but
If we're doing it on a scale, that would have been like 1,500 for Kobe in his final game.
oh my God. Oh my God. He scored 4 points 3 years ago. The whole season. This is wow.
But that's what I'm
Good for you, D.
saying.
Good for you.
You know,
D, man.
Udonis is sitting at home in his new rocking chair that they gave him, and just thinking he should have been playing all year, and that he could have done this all year.
Jay, you have him sitting at home. I have him encased in ice. Like I have him sitting.
Let's
still
get
in the
crazy.
ice bath.
Let's get crazy and give him Eastern Player of the Week.
I'm with it. Absolutely. I'll give it to them for the month.
It's also great that he just knows he's not going to play in any play-in or playoff. Like the regular season had to be the one that he treated as his final game, even though his team is technically going forward.
I've been struggling with who's going to get my 5th place vote on the MVP ballot. I think I just found it. I think I just found Hey, PJ Brown got it I was going to say a few years ago, like 25 years ago. PJ Brown got one, but
PJ Brown got it.
PJ Brown got a 5th place MVP vote, man. It happens. All right, let's move on to speaking of more just unbelievable shit. The Dallas Mavericks tanked out of the play-in tournament.
Our topics were, when I looked at them today, I was like, yeah, these are awesome topics.
Yeah. So the Mavs had an outside chance at making the 10 spot in the play-in tournament. They had to win their final 2 games, and they needed the Thunder to lose on Sunday because the Thunder had already played 81 games. So Dallas went into Friday night's game 81, sitting Kyrie Irving, Christian Wood, Maxi Kleber, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Luka played a quarter plus, I think, 2 possessions of the second quarter because there were a bunch of Slovenians in the building. That's why he played.
Slovenian night.
And so everyone's killing the Mavs. Like, how do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. I will give them credit in the sense that they know that they're cooked. They know this team sucks. They know that they're not good enough.
They would miss the playoffs or the play-in tournament even if they had won out the 2 games that they tanked.
Right.
As it turned out.
They needed the Thunder would have had to have lost on Sunday.
Zach, can we call out how tasteless it is to take that to the office, the league office? I'd rather shame them than go to go tell on somebody.
We know what happened there, right? That's the Knicks. You know why? You know why the Knicks got hit for tampering on Jalen Brunson? Dallas.
Because they tampered on Jalen Brunson.
Well, but everybody tampers, man. Like
part of me wonders though if this was the league going like, you want to protest games?
Yeah.
But,
No,
okay.
Talking to people, look, I can't outright report this, but talking to people, like, the league office will not really do that shit unless someone files a complaint. Dallas filed a complaint for New York, tampering with Jalen Brunson. And so I guarantee the second the Knicks saw this, like, well, we need an investigation on this. Nothing's gonna come of it. But yeah, Dallas knew they were cooked. They know they're not good, right? They have to spend the next, I mean, according to Tim McMahon of ESPN, like, they got like a year, and they're, until they start worrying about, is Luka gonna ask for a trade? Luka's not happy.
Sound like an episode of Billions.
It does, man. The Mavs have had a rough go of it. Jay and I were on AMP the other day, and we were going through the most games played since the Mavs won the championship in 2011. Dwight Powell has played the most games for the Mavs since then. Monte Ellis is
third. He's third in scoring for them since then.
Yes,
Dwight Powell.
Monte Ellis is top 10 in scoring since then. He's played 2 seasons. He's top 10 in scoring for the Mavs since the championship.
How long ago was this?
Since 2011.
Since they won the shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's been a bad decade plus. They lucked into Luka because the Suns were stupid and didn't get him. The Kings were stupid and didn't get him. And the Hawks were stupid and they traded him. Like, they are not a well-run organization right now. And so, like, they need an overhaul of a lot. They do have to worry about losing Luka. But Mo, like, with this Mavericks thing, how offended are you that they tanked out the final two games? And also, we should add in, it protects their draft pick that would go to the Knicks, assuming, because they're currently 10th. It's top 10 protected, assuming that we don't get some fuckery in the lottery, which actually would be amazing. If one of these teams, 11 through 14, jumps them, then they will lose their pick.
I'm not offended at all. I'm more offended by Portland's blatant tanking through the second half of the season.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. I'm not offended that they tanked the last 2 games of the season. Listen, they should have tanked immediately after they lost those 2 games to Charlotte. They won 2 more games in that process. And really, I'm looking at them going, what the fuck are you doing? Don't even win those games. They should have been tanking before then. I'm not offended. This is just, they're trying to protect the one draft pick. We knew this team was cooked from the beginning. They finished the season winning 2 of 10 out of, they finished the season winning 2 out of their last 10 games of the year. This team was nothing. We knew they were bad after the trade deadline when we looked at them and said they had no defense. It didn't work for them offensively. And Zach, you said, they haven't been well run. I have a lot of questions of if Mark Cuban's even a good owner. We give Cuban a lot of credit, but I don't even know. He's on
Shark Tank, man. He's on Shark Tank. Like, he's on TV.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that works. I mean, like, we give him a lot of credit, and he has the feel of a good owner, but it's like, man, everything you watch from this team, since everything you said, Dwight Powell, longest tenured
Dwight Powell's like Mr. Maverick over the last 12 years.
I'm looking at this stuff, just going, go back and look at him letting Steve Nash walk and all of those things. Like, I have a lot of questions of whether Mark Cuban's actually a good owner for a team.
I disagree with you saying you're not offended. I was absolutely offended by this. And it has nothing to do with them tanking.
You can get offended?
It has nothing to do with them tanking, because every team tanks. We've seen Damian Lillard get shut down. We've seen the Spurs just go an entire season without even trying to put together anyone good on their roster. We have seen an abundant amount of tanking this season alone, never mind the past 10 seasons. The difference here is you have Luka Doncic. You have a generational player on your team, and you fucked it up so badly that you decided tanking the last 2 games was the best idea. You went out and traded for Kyrie Irving. You thought he was the fix. You thought he would be the second guy next to Luka Doncic, and you absolutely fell apart over the second half of the season so badly that you had to tank over the last 2 games of the season, including on Slovenia night when Luka Doncic only played 1 quarter in front of the people from his home.
They were sweating that final shot that could have tied it up too. They were down 3. They put up a 3. They were sweating that thing going in and having go to overtime.
By the way, next year Slovenia night's going to be much earlier in the season.
So it's not just about the tanking. It's just like I'm offended by the last year that they've had to bungle the Jalen Brunson situation as badly as they did. First with the lack of an extension, then with just letting him go to New York, then putting together a roster that was just anyone knew looking at that roster going into this season, they weren't good enough at either end of the court. They bring in Christian Wood, who clearly Jason Kidd was never on board with, not once, and just has defensive holes. They went from a team that was loaded with like just they played such great defense last season, and that was their identity, was having a great defense, a super sharp defense, a super connected defense, and then having 2 guys in Luka and Jalen Brunson who could make plays off the bounce. They let the defense go, they let Brunson go, and then they made a desperation trade for Kyrie Irving, and they still ended up tanking. So I'm offended by all of it. I'm not offended by the tanking itself. It's just when you have Luka and you have to resort to that, it is pathetic,
embarrassing,
and it says so much about how many things you had to fuck up to get into that place.
I really want the Mavericks to lose this pick, not because I'm anti-Mavericks. I just think it's funny of like what the content will be from Cuban complaining. Like, Cuban will go like, all right, I need to see this lottery process. Like, he'll go full conspiracy on this. And maybe it would be a conspiracy. I don't know. Every time an owner, there's a new owner who buys a bad team, saves them from a bad owner, all of a sudden they get some lottery luck, right? Or they feel aggrieved. Like LeBron leaves Cleveland, all of a sudden they get the number 1 pick for Kyrie. AD wants out of New Orleans, all of a sudden they get Zion Williamson.
Are you saying Wembanyama's going to be with Kevin Durant next year?
No, I'm saying I think he's going to Charlotte because the Hornets sale.
I was going to say I think he's going to San Antonio, but I don't know. We'll see.
If that keeps popping around him for it.
I mean, I would love LaMelo and Victor.
That would be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun. But I want
Wembanyama and Zach Collins would be hell.
I want Cuban as the Mavs representative on draft lottery night. So when it's announced, I just want him to flip the table over or something when they lose the pick. Like, I want that reaction right away.
No, he's gonna send like Theo Pinson or something. Theo Pinson had a triple-double yesterday, by the way.
Weird day.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Can't wait to hear about that on his podcast. What do you think the podcast? Oh, dude, it's got a great podcast. What do you think the fix is? Because they don't have a lot of flexibility here. Like, they've kind of painted themselves in a corner where they have to re-sign Kyrie with whatever he wants, and we don't even know if that's a sure thing. Like,
so the real reason why, so I was always pushing for Derek Lively, right? They get the top 10 pick, they get this Tyson Chandler 2.0 agile big that they, can catch lobs and defend. But solely, that's just a piece to dangle for trades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they're trying to get better now. They're not no project, anything like that. The number 1 goal is obviously to re-sign Kyrie, but then also, hey, we get this pick. We know that the top 10 is a good one. Let's try to move it. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah.
In this particular situation, they solely want this, and they solely thought this out just to trade it. That's it. That's it.
Adding a rookie is not going to help this thing.
No, not at all. Yeah. But it also, the problem for them going forward, even just in the building of it, and the reason why they kind of have to use this pick to trade it, is they still owe the Knicks another pick. They have another pick going out to the Nets for Kyrie. I mean, they're at a certain point where they're going to be limited in what they can do in terms of putting more draft capital into trades. Like, they're at a difficult spot. And who do you want on that team? What's a trade chip besides that hopefully for them going to be a top 10 pick. After that, like what's a real trade chip that's going to bring back a piece for them? Like they're going to have to get real creative and get lucky with something. You know, somebody's going to have, maybe it's a sign and trade. Maybe somebody really wants Kyrie so badly they'll do a sign and trade and give up assets. But it's like, it's pretty bleak right now for Dallas. I don't know how you improve this roster.
It's an absolute mess. So I don't want to step on the toes of our friends at Basketball Illuminati, but
I think he does.
I think it's time to put on some tinfoil hats here, because yesterday in Clippers Suns, Clippers win that game. They get the 5 seed. They face the Suns in the first round. They lose that game, get the 6 seed. They go face the Kings.
But they didn't know that with full certainty at the time. Like Minnesota had to win for that to be the case.
I think when they saw that Portland was on the schedule for the Warriors that day, they knew what was going to happen. Yeah, they like I think they.
But they needed Minnesota to win that game for them to be in the 6 rather than the 7.
Right. In New Orleans for there was a lot of convoluted stuff with that, but also it was pretty awesome that the NBA did do just 2 start times for games.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is the thing. They're like, we're not doing that fucker anymore. Like, everyone's gonna start playing. But
it was so useful.
There's a way to get around this.
Yeah, this is going.
There's a way to get around this. What if there's just suddenly a speaker malfunction in the arena that has to be fixed? Oh, it has to be fixed before we can get back to action. I don't know how long the delay was. I do know this. I kept switching between games and stuff on, I was going back and forth between Lakers Jazz and Wolves Pelicans, right? Those were the 2 games I was concentrating on. Every once in a while I'd check in just to see the bloodbath that was Warriors Blazers, but I was mostly going Lakers Jazz and Wolves Pelicans. And so every time I'm in the NBA app on my Apple TV, I go out and I see it's still the same score. It's still the same score in the Suns Clippers game, same amount of time. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? This app is glitchy as hell. Like, God, the NBA needs to fix their app. And then I was like, all right, I'll open up Twitter and I look and I'm like, oh, speaker malfunction, huh? Interesting.
Shenanigans.
10-minute delay. Huh. I wonder why you need a speaker to be working in order to have the game, but whatever. I don't know. Maybe they're worried it's going to fall down or something, or maybe it's having awful feedback and the players can't concentrate. I don't know. I wasn't watching the game, so I got to admit, don't know. Then there's a certain point when I think the Wolves were up 108-106 in the fourth quarter. I think I saw this clip when that was the score, where Ty Lue was asking, "What's going on? Like what's happening in this? What do we do here? What do we do?" He ends up. The Clippers just end up winning the game, and now they're catching so much shit for winning, which is a weird culture, right? But the win got them a first-round matchup with the Suns instead of the Kings. Suns have Kevin Durant.
Isn't ready yet.
Yeah, Paul George is not going to be available to start the series. Maybe he comes back at some point during the series, but he's not available to start the series. And so, did the Clippers mess up by believing in wins? Or should they be like, fuck this, we'll go take on anybody?
They screwed up.
No, I don't think they screwed up at all. Because at the end of the day, you have to, I mean, look, you're going into a play. Do you want to go into a play-in without Paul George? Right?
Right.
I don't like the odds of just going in with one game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they lose, like their fate it's written regardless. But I'd rather have a window where I potentially can get Paul George back, or, in this particular situation, I'm fighting for my life going into a play-in where I don't know which player's going to show up. Whether Russ shoots him out a game, where Russ has a better game, and then Kawhi doesn't play well. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'd rather go into a series versus the Suns, and I know that I'm guaranteed 4 games.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
instead of the 2, because they would have been the 7 if Pelicans win all this stuff.
There was no way they were ever going to end up in 6. And it's just by I don't believe in curses, but the Clippers, they're damned either way.
All of a sudden, Brandon Ingram grows wings and just Rudy Gobert comes back and punches every teammate like in the fourth quarter.
something odd, right?
Like,
Like
nah,
it's just one of those
fuck
things. There was no way. If the Clippers lost, I promise you they would have been 7th. I don't know. They might even have been 8th. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
It's just
but
they're damned if they're due.
problem was like trying to win at the beginning of that game is right, because I wouldn't want to slip to the play-in tournament. I would not want to be in that situation, especially without Paul George, where you're playing LeBron and the Lakers, and you could very well lose that one. And then
Yeah, but you'd
all
be
of
at
a sudden
home.
then all of a sudden you're looking at an elimination. Like you'd be at home. Okay, great, nice joke there. But
it was
their
a good joke. It just took you
problem
9 seconds to get it.
their problem was midway through the fourth quarter, once they realized that Minnesota was going to win, and they must have realized that Minnesota was going to win, because we know Ty Lue was on the bench asking what was going on in that game, and we know that he was getting updates about that game. They never aborted the mission. They never just decided, you know what? Let's no longer win this game. To the end,
what about
Kawhi
karma,
Leonard
guys?
was just dusting Phoenix Suns bums for buckets.
He can't turn it off, man. He can't turn it off. Like
He could get subbed
You
out.
can't
though.
play him. You can't.
could
That'd be
get
the one
subbed
game
out.
they get to decide to sit him out.
I would have been like, "Yo, Plumlee, it's point guard time. It is
I'm just run. You just
The
run
show
nothing but
is
Bones
yours.
Highland, Mason Plumlee, pick and rolls
Yeah.
the rest of the day, and say, "All right, either fight
Should have
each
done
other
that after
or-
they shoved each other. Should have done that after they shoved that. You know what? You guys want to play? Fine. You
All right,
play with
fine.
each other.
We're doing nothing but pick and rolls."
but it was tough. Like even that Minnesota game, it was close till basically the very end.
Yeah.
And if Minnesota falls behind in that one, like then you're screwed, and you decide to lose, and you're in 7th. So it was a tough situation, and it would have had to be like on the fly, knowing exactly when Minnesota took a big enough lead for you to be comfortable in that.
Which is never, by the way, when the Wolves are involved, it's never.
But there was a moment where it looked like we're gonna. I was really excited for this Laker Clipper play-in game. I was really hoping
for sure. Oh
for
shit, man! I would have been back in the building for that one.
that one. I would have been like, "Can I get a credential, please?"
Yeah,
Like,
I need that credential. Right here.
The Metro series.
Yes,
It would have been wild.
the
Man.
battle of the hallway.
Man, that's so sick, man.
It would have been, and that's the Clippers' worst nightmare. Not because they don't think they could beat the Lakers or whatnot, but it's you lose to the Lakers in LA in the play-in game, like it becomes just a terrible push. They had to win this game. I know all the other stuff, and when you try to get too cute, it bites you in the ass.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think you can get too cute with this stuff. Also, like I don't want to go on like because I applaud teams for tanking Victor Wembanyama, right? Like I get it, man. Like all right, I think like in
the league applauds teams for tanking.
I rather
the league is
rather take a shot at it than not.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
At least I can be
also
well,
if you think, if you're the Clippers, and whether it's delusional or not, if you think, okay, we can win a title. We got Paul George is going to come back. We got Kawhi Leonard. You can't have the mentality of, oh, I hope we don't play the Suns in the first round. Like that's a loser ass mentality.
Well, for one, you regardless of where, I always think this, right? When people be like, oh, they're ducking them. If they're really that deal, you're going to run into them.
Mm-hmm.
If you advance, it's no duck. It's no duck. Nobody's really just going to, all right, I took care of it for you. It's very rare, unless there's an injury or something that's really series shifting, you're going to run into them. So you might as well just throw your best shot and hope for the best. And I do think that they can probably still win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it's just going to roll, but like, again,
Kevin
Durant definitely hasn't lost a game in that purple uniform.
He hasn't missed a shot inside of 3 feet. Do you know that, like, he hasn't missed a shot for them? It's well, maybe ever, yeah. But like his I was looking at these numbers the other day, and granted, it's only like 8 games or something, but the best chance you have of stopping him right now is in 10 to 16 feet, where he's shooting 52%. That's his lowest percentage right now for the Suns. He's just like on this other level. He's got like a 69.7% true shooting, 26 a game, and he would be
very much healthy. He would have been very much in the MVP conversation if he had stayed healthy this season.
Okay, would have, yeah.
Very much in it.
I know some of this is with injuries, but he hasn't lost a game since January 4th.
It's pretty good.
Like, they went on that massive run in December with Brooklyn and everything, and before he got hurt. But like, that's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, how many games has he played since then, though?
Jay, don't ruin this.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Wins are wins.
It sounds great, but I haven't lost a game since 2010.
Nobody cares about you, though.
I don't know. I thought I saw some.
My true shooting percentage isn't quite at the level.
When was that clip where you forgot the clock and the score?
Oh, that was
J.R. Smith did.
So first of all,
did you lose that game? We got to move on. Don't worry about it.
That wasn't. They didn't have a shot clock.
Let's
they
go on.
Started it with a minute left.
In tournament, Tuesday night.
God damn it.
Tuesday night, we don't cut that audio of Jay trying to explain it, Dave. Tuesday night, we've got Hawks at Heat for the 7th seed and Wolves at Lakers for the 7th seed. Both games, I believe, are on TNT. And so our friends at BetMGM have the spread at 4.5. Heat are favored by 4.5. Just to let you know, the Heat are 10-3 over the last 2 seasons, including playoffs, against the Hawks. We've seen Gabe Vincent absolutely lock down Trae Young in a playoff series, but this is just one game. It's just one game. The Hawks are potent, right? Like Trae Young could go off. DeJounte Murray's still really good. DeAndre Hunter's really good. Like they have talent, but where do you put their chances plus 4.5 against the Heat in Miami?
I think Miami's gonna control this one. One team can play defense, and the other team is the Hawks.
I like what you said there. Control this one. You didn't say they're going to blow them out because Miami doesn't blow anybody out. They go into every single game playing a clutch game and just control it, but they control the entire clutch moment.
They are going to control this one. They will win by like 7 or 8 points. I don't think it will be a blowout because I don't really believe this Miami team is great, but the Hawks, they know they're nothing. I think the Heat as an organization are delusional enough to think they have a chance to go on a deep playoff run and even win a title.
Yes, they are that delusional.
They are absolutely that delusional.
They're thinking they got the league right where they want them.
Atlanta's not.
Look how UD's playing.
Exactly. They have newfound MVP candidate Udonis Haslem. But the Heat, I think the Heat will control this one pretty easily.
Mo?
Yeah, I mean, the Hawks are just so busted defensively in how they play with everything. And I think they're such a weird position and weird season for them with bringing in Quinn mid-season and trying to figure out like what they're going to do offensively and how things are going to work. And you get some games where Trae looks engaged and other games where he doesn't. I think this is the Heat. Not much to say. The Heat are going to win this one.
I think the Hawks cover though, because again,
Jimmy might have 45 against that defense.
But it's only because the Heat only know how to play close games. They probably have the league record all time playing clutch games in a season.
I think they blew that record out of the water. Trey, for the night game, we got Wolves at Lakers. We know Jaden McDaniels is out. I guess as of this recording, we don't know if Rudy will be disciplined anymore. They may roll in there with everybody minus Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid. The Lakers are 6.5 point favorites, according to BetMGM. Do you give the Wolves a chance in this one?
No, I don't. But also, I'm rolling with the Lakers out the first round versus the Grizzlies as well.
Ooh.
I mean, they've been 17. They're
No Steven
17.
Adams?
Hear me out.
Spicy take. I love this.
They're 17-8 outside of the All-Star break and trade deadline.
Yeah.
They've been rolling.
They did play the Rockets like 10 games though, so I don't know.
But I mean, that was without LeBron James too, though.
That's true. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. No LeBron for a lot of that.
I mean, I do give them that. I don't think like the Shaquille Harrisons and Tristan Thompsons really moved the needle too much. But I do think that Vanderbilt, and the other guys, they're finding their role in these things, and I think that they catch with their experience, they catch Memphis, slipping, and they make it out of there. And yeah, I don't like to give them the underdog situation because they still got LeBron James. But at the end of the day, if you're betting against the Lakers, against the Grizzlies, I got the Lakers, man.
Most,
yeah.
I don't forgot the biggest X factor, Shannon Sharp.
That's another thing. I think it's very storied. I mean, I know we mentioned Russ and Katie being in the Phoenix Clippers series.
I
Some of this
cannot
stuff,
wait for that clown Dylan Brooks to get lit up in that series. Let me just tell you, like, I'm so
Wait till you
dude.
see.
I'm pro
what he does to
Dylan
LeBron
Brooks,
James.
man.
God, man.
I'm pro Dylan Brooks.
He's a
though.
dirty ass player, and he
This
he
is a
hit
great
the
moment for me.
cameraman and
He's
was
pro
just a
Dylan
dick
Brooks.
about
We've
it,
got
man.
another pro Dylan Brooks guy.
Here we
on
go.
this podcast.
Clown.
Zach, I saw the text last night, and I was
Paint
like,
his
huh.
fucking face.
But at the end of the day, he's good at what he does, man. Whether it's being annoying
Not
or
at
whatever,
offense.
it's of course that's not his job. But
what
the
else?
main thing is, here's the thing: his job is to be annoying. He's taking advantage while he has the attention. He's wearing his hair perm down. He's dressing and wearing all these crazy things because we are giving him the attention. We're giving him the attention. So
Mhm.
at the end of the day, he's not the face of the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is. I'm not expecting him to go out there and score 30 points. If he has a big night, cool. But you know what he's going to give us? Entertainment, just like Pat Beverly. So I'm all in. I'm pro Dylan Brooks. I get it. Zach, it's like playing it's like playing pickup basketball and someone winning 3 straight, and you know the person did not contribute, and you're like, why are you talking? You didn't do nothing.
We call that
and
the
it's
Dick
like,
King.
and it's like, put us
I'm
off.
nice.
Dylan Brooks, I can't say that he doesn't do anything, but he doesn't do enough for him to talk the way he does. And I'm all for it because he gives us great quotes, he gives us entertainment, and he gives us some feistiness. He's going to get under skin.
Trey, if he was good at trash talk, I would be for it. He's not. His trash talk is so weak.
But his outfits are incredible.
I think it's more so broken. But at the end of the day, I look at it as what you see is what you get. And at this point, the same way Pat Beverly jumped on the table and beat his chest, and he might do it in Chicago, who knows? They're great performers. We got to give him that. We got to give him that.
Over the next 2.5 weeks, he's going to get some attention.
I just can't wait till he shoots them out of 2 games. I can't wait till he shoots them out of games in the playoff series.
It's
Trey,
so annoying because I love this Grizzlies team. I love everything about this Grizzlies. It's just him. He's
Dylan Brooks gets hot, boys.
What does that mean?
Since when?
What does that mean? He goes
Wait
4 for 12?
He gets hot. Yeah. Pretty much.
Dribbles the ball off
11 points on 4 and 12
situation when Ja's open. Like, come on, man. What are we doing?
All right, guys. It is that time of the week where we give Jake. Oh, wait, no. Regular season's over. That's going to do it for this edition of the Basket Buds. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page. Subscribe to the Bounce, theathletic.com/bounce. For Jay King, for Mo Dakhil, for Javon Edwards, for Dave DeFore, I'm Zach Harper. Keep it locked in on The Athletic.